Hey there, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 15th, and we are here to talk about your first big assignment. Or, well, not really big, right? But this is the assignment that's going to be replacing your test that you were supposed to have way back before March break, right? Remember we were going to do that, right? But, well, obviously all this happened, so instead we're going to do this, alright? So, basically, what we're going to be talking about is the Canada and the modern world, right? So this assignment is got 6 questions, and you're going to pick 3 of these questions, and you're going to answer me them in about a paragraph, right? 5 to 7 sentences for each of these. So, I've given you 6 questions. Let's go through them. The first question is, what do you think is the most important contribution to World War II that Canada made? Unfortunately, we didn't get to have a World War II test, right? So, you know, we talked a lot about World War II before the COVID-19 stuff has happened, and, well, you know, we had to sort of abandon it because of the sudden lockdown. So this question, for those of you who wanted to say something about World War II, who wanted to write something about World War II, this question's for you, right? So if you want to talk about, Canada and the Battle of Britain, or maybe talk about Canada and the importance of the battle in the Atlantic, right, or something like that, right, you can certainly talk about that here in question number 1. But the next 4 or 5 questions are all about what we've been talking about in these YouTube classes, right? So, the first question, do you think that Canada's peacekeeping missions are a force for good in the world, or has Canada not done a good job overseas, right? That first question is meant to be about the peacekeeping topic, which we covered last Monday, right? Basically, do you think Canada has done a good enough job overseas, right? So there are still a couple of things we probably need to talk about for peacekeepings, and I'll mention them tomorrow, right? But this is essentially you looking at things like Suez Canal, Rwanda, Bosnia, all those kinds of things. You can check the textbook for a little more information on this, of course, and sort of deciding, have we done a good job since World War II? Are we a good country in the world, or have we not done a good job? The third question is Pierre Trudeau's Canadian hero for what he achieved while he was in office? Why or why not? So in this particular question, what you are looking at is all the things that were done while Pierre Trudeau was in office. I'm talking about things like the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the multiculturalism, but also things like the War Measures Act, right? All of those questions are going to be, part of your answer here, right? Basically saying, do you think he's a great prime minister, or is he not, right? So obviously this is all your opinion, but I'm eager to hear what you have to say. The next question is, was it right for Canada to have used the War Measures Act against the Front de Liberté de Quebec, right? So this is talking about the October crisis. Some of you have already sent me really good answers to this, actually. So, you'll be able to pick up on what you were saying there. I know there was a lot of disagreement in the class about this, right? So if you want to talk more about the FLQ and what Pierre Trudeau did with the War Measures Act, that was definitely the question for you. Then, question 5 is about the economy. Is free trade and foreign ownership of businesses good for Canada, or should we try to be more encouraging more Canadian-owned businesses, right? So we talked about that last Wednesday. We can continue that discussion, right, with this answer here. And finally, the discussion from yesterday, are Canadians different from Americans at all? If so, how are Canadians different? So those are the 6 questions you have to choose from, and you are picking 3 of these, right? 3 questions, and you're going to answer these in 5 to 7 sentences. Right? They're based on your opinions, and what I'm most interested in is hearing why you feel the way that you do. Feel free to use the textbook in your answers. My YouTube videos are fine. Any other source is fine as well, but don't copy and paste anything, all right? I want it to be your own words, right? So you're not going to copy anything. Now, in terms of how to write this, let me do a quick example. So, an example. Let's take a look here. Oh, hi. Come on. Alright. So, here's an example question. Should Canada have gone to war with Germany in World War II, or should we have stayed out of the conflict, right? So, this is my question, not one of your questions, but let's see. So, I start with a topic sentence. Canada absolutely needed to join World War II, right? So, in that topic sentence, you need to give a clear answer to the question, right? I don't want to be thinking, okay, what does this person really think? In that first sentence, I should know what it is you are thinking, right? So Canada absolutely needed to join World War II, period. First of all, while Germany never attacked Canada directly, Hitler's regime wanted to be dominant in the entire world. They attacked Czechoslovakia, Poland, already for no reasons besides their desire to be conquerors. So what this is, Dragos, is it's the supporting sentences, right? We have to make sure our argument makes sense, all right? And we're going to tell the reader why we think that, right? If they had not been defeated in Europe during World War II, they would have undoubtedly have threatened Canada as well. Furthermore, Hitler was a heroic human being who was putting innocent Jewish civilians into concentration camps and was intent on establishing Germans as the master race. So, Dragos, what we need to do in our paragraph is we need to have reasoning, right? We need to have evidence, right? And you can't just say, you know, yes, they did need to do that, right? You have to tell us why, right? That's why I talk about the innocent Jewish civilians. That's why I talk about Poland and France being conquered, right? I'm using facts to back up my opinions, all right? Now, then I wrap it up. It was only right for Canada to fight against these monsters in World War II, and I'm glad we did, right? That's, of course, a concluding sentence. So, you guys have all done this before, right? Oh, what is it? You want to go? Okay. You guys have all done this before, so you know exactly how to write a paragraph already. We've done a bunch. So the test, right, remember, this was supposed to be a test, but the test is going to be essentially pick 3 of these questions and answer them just like this, right? So I'll leave a link to this little example I did in case you guys want to go through it, but it's very simple, right? No copy and pasting, of course. Right, sure, it's all in your own words, and what you're supposed to do is just answer 3 of these questions, whichever 3 you prefer, whichever 3 you think are easiest. We're looking at about 5 to 7 sentences, somewhere in that ballpark. Now, you should know, for this one, right, it's not like the Q&A questions, where I've generally ignored your spelling and grammar. For this one, I want you guys to pay attention to spelling and grammar, particularly sentence structure, right? So you want to make sure you don't have any run-on sentences, you don't make any spelling mistakes, right? So make sure you polish it up, right, and give me something, you know, nice, right? This is due next Monday, April 20th, right? So you have the rest of this week and the weekend to work on this. If you want to send it to me earlier, sure. But your answers should be emailed to faisal.ahmed@tdsb.on.ca. So you can think of it as sort of like a test, but you have plenty of time to work on it, and you can read whatever you want to support your answers, right? So I am hoping to keep the spelling and grammar issues to the absolute minimum. Alright, so that's the plan right now, and that's what we're going to do. So, does this assignment make sense to you guys? Are there any questions about what you're supposed to do? If there are, please send them to me, and I will be back tomorrow to answer them. I can't do a Q&A video tonight, unfortunately, but tomorrow I will be back to answer all of the questions you might have, and if there's time, we'll also have something to say about Canadian healthcare. So, again, this is the replacement for your test, and we're going forward in the course, and I hope you guys are all doing well out there. So again, send me your questions if you have any. Thanks so much.